from the University of California, Berkeley. So McNair is very true and dear to my heart, as with all of the trio programs. As you all know, Jeff and Judy, as the trio programs, we are family. We all work toward the same goal to really work with first generation, low income, and underrepresented students, to really try to make sure that they not only get into college, right? You all work a lot to make sure that students get into college. And then we have our colleagues with student support services that work with students to make sure that they successfully complete their bachelor undergraduate degrees. And then those of us part of the trio family with McNair, the McNair Scholars Program is designed to work with that same target population of students to get them into graduate studies. With a really, we work to try to get you all into the PhD, but at minimum, we want you to just to get into a graduate program to complete the master's degree. And part of that, and my colleagues know this in TRIO, a big part of this is because TRIO began, late in the 1960s, around the time with the civil rights movement, when policymakers and other folks were looking at first generation under low income underrepresented students, and seeing like, wow, we are really not, are we really, the questioning, right, are we really creating equal opportunity for these students to get into college, right? And so with McNair, policymakers later on, in the 80s, came to start to see like these same students, we're not seeing them obtain PhD degrees, and then go off into segments of our society, either to become professors, become researchers, or work in other segments of society. So McNair was an intervention basically to address that need, as was SSS, Student Support Services, to try to address that need for students to really get into college and to complete bachelor degrees. And then early on, we start with Upward Bound, up in with really getting students from high school into college. So that sort of culminates the trio family. Again, I'm where I work with McNair, and our program is specifically designed for you all, to after while you're in that undergraduate space, to really think about what would a graduate education look like for me, right? So it's about you, right, individually, right, to pursue your own goals and to keep climbing that trajectory. But on a broader sense, on a more macro level, it really looks at, let's really increase these numbers so our society can be better, right, and reflect the diversity that our society truly represents, right? Diversity in terms of race and ethnicity. So that means definitely Black students, Latinx students, um, and Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, Native American students, but it also means students who may not have those racial ethnic backgrounds, but may just be first generation, meaning no one in their family has gone to college or gone to pursue a graduate degree, right? First generation, and then who may not be as high on the economic scale as others, right? So that's what I love about being part of this trio family, because all of us in our individual programs work toward that. So for me, um, like I said, I started. I've been with McNair for a while, but starting here at UW-Whitewater, recently in January, working in this program. So what the McNair Scholars Program does is, with all of that big stuff that I told you all about, right? Trying to get students into the doctorate. And so how do we do that, right? So we work with students who are what we call rising juniors and seniors, right? So when you get into, when you finally get into college, right? And you're in your undergraduate, what McNair does at Whitewater is when students get into their late sophomore, early junior year, we open up the opportunity to you, right? So what that opportunity entails is you will come into McNair, right? You would apply, right? There's a whole application process. But when you come in, if you come in, what we do is provide you with an opportunity to conduct research, right, with a professor at UW-Whitewater, to get that experience that you will need, right? Because what happens, so you all are in high school right now. And so what you're doing is you're going through all your high school requirements. Some of you are taking AP courses, doing all these things, and definitely with Upward Bound, you are preparing to get into the college of your choice, right?
Mhm.
So, but what happens with McNair is, once you are, in that undergraduate experience, you have an opportunity to think about, okay, I'm interested in something, right? There's something that I'm interested in, and I'm going to take that particular interest and research it, right, in an academic research space, with a faculty mentor. So we provide you that opportunity and provide you the support in the space to do that. Support in the terms of dollars, right? We pay a particular stipend so that you can have one summer of 8 weeks to research with a faculty mentor on a topic of your choice. Now, a lot of us come into this space. I know for me, I came in like, wait a minute, research. For me, I'm a sociologist, right? So social sciences, I study, society and patterns and people and all of these different things. Whereas in my mind, I'm like, research, I'm not going to be in a lab all day in a microscope or whatever. But as you will find, if you don't know already, research has a broad spectrum of ways in which we investigate and try to solve different problems, right? And so I didn't even know that, right? So for some of us, research looks different ways. So you have an opportunity with McNair to really pursue your interests. For me, again, thinking about sociology, my interest was like, why is society structured the way that it is, right? Why are things so unequal in terms of the way that some groups get to experience our society and others don't, right? For some of my other peers, it was, they're looking at genes and cells and things in terms of biology. And then I had others who were looking at maybe things in mathematics. So you can research and you come into McNair, um, with your different majors and your different research perspectives, and you have the opportunity to really work on a research project, whether it's from one of your professors' projects or one of your own. And the reason why research is so important for your part as a McNair scholars is because moving on, the next level, like, right, you got into your undergraduate degree. When you with graduate studies, a big part of what you will do entails conducting research. So that means whether or not you want to be, what, like, again, my ideal of a researcher with a lab coat, with a microscope, that's one way to research, but there are different other ways. And so you need to, and even if you are a business major and you want to get a master's in business or even a PhD in business, you definitely have to have some sort of research experience. So that's again what McNair provides you with, the opportunity to get those research skills so that you can be competitive when you apply for a graduate program. Now, one thing I will tell you, and I didn't know this, again, I'm a first generation student. And so when I came into this, I didn't know the process of applying to graduate school. And I will tell you that it's not totally different from where you are now and how you're preparing to apply. for college, pursuing your undergraduate degree. But there's a lot of things that you won't know, right? A lot of people just don't know what the process is. And again, McNair is designed not only to give you that research experience, but to demystify the whole process of applying for graduate school. Because a lot of us who are that first generation, right? Our parents didn't even go, a lot of us, our parents didn't even go to get bachelor's degree, let alone to go on and get a graduate degree. So McNair, what we do is we demystify that process by helping you to explore what different graduate programs look like, right? So you can be prepared. And I will tell you all something that is unfortunate. Something that is unfortunate is that a lot of us, we get into our undergrad and it's like, yes, I'm doing well. And then you don't find out until your junior or your senior year that grad school is a thing. And for a lot of us, sometimes that is even too late because there's a preparation for many different programs. There's some preparation that you have to have right ahead of time. And again, the McNair Scholars Program offers you that preparation by getting you the research experience, by helping you to prepare to take an exam called the General Record Exam, the GRE, which is just another level up than what you all are preparing for now. I'm sure most of you are preparing to take an ACT or an SAT, right? But in graduate school, there's another exam called the GRE, and that's something that you have to be prepared for. Something else that we prepare you for, aside from preparing for the GRE or getting some research skills under your belt, is to really explore what different graduate programs look like. So you get a chance to go visit. Now, I know right now, COVID-19, we're in the middle of this pandemic. We don't know what the future is, 2 weeks from now or even 3 months from now. But ideally, and right now we're doing a lot of things virtually, but ideally what we do in McNair is we'll go visit, right, different graduate programs across the nation and even regionally. So you will have the opportunity to meet different representatives from different graduate programs to really explore these opportunities. And we prepare you for all of that, again, helping you to prepare personal statements, resumes, all of these sorts of things, so that you will be competitive to apply for graduate programs of your choice, and not only competitive enough to apply, but to gain funding, because that's one thing that we do work really hard with in the McNair Scholars Program with you all, is to try to find every possibility to get your graduate education funded, right? Because there's so many opportunities, there's so much money out there, and I can't even tell you right now, but there's so many opportunities to get this funded and to get it paid for, to where you don't have to pay a thing out of your pocket, right? So those are some of the little catchstones, if you will, about the McNair Scholars Program. Again, it's definitely designed for you all. I'm assuming all of you are right now are in the Upper Bow program. So already, just by being eligible for Upward Bound, you ideally are going to be eligible for the McNair Scholars Program. And I challenge you, and I definitely implore you to keep McNair Scholars, even right now, bookmark this, write it down in your notebook as you are preparing for your college experience, as you are thinking about what is my major going to be, right? What university am I going to go to? Mark McNair Scholars on there as well, because that's something that you all, again, already meet the minimal eligibility requirements for. And as you are pursuing your experience, your academic journey, that's something that you'll want to have on your radar, because it's just another thing for you to prepare for, another opportunity for you to excel, to reach your goals, and also for you one thing that is very important too, that I believe is important, as you all are making, I think of many of you, and again myself, because I pit myself in the same barrel as you, as pioneers, right? Most of us are first time, we're the first that to go off in our families, in our communities, to go to this next level. And so and even as you all are progressing through Upward Bound, going into your undergraduate career, and hopefully many of you will move forward into your graduate career and take McNair. You guys are not only doing this for yourselves, and serving you're serving examples for your families and your communities. So any information you get in, you are gonna whittle that information and those resources down to them. And for me, for somebody who definitely considers themselves as an advocate, definitely an agent for social change, that really brings me hope when I think about the broader picture for all of us. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I see some stuff in the chat box, which I'll attend to. But if anybody has any questions or anything, definitely feel free to ask. I don't know if I've taken up much more time than I need to.
No,
Um,
this was great, actually. I'm so glad you are here, Karen, because we talk to our Upward Bound students about the Student Support Services Program, or SSS, but they never hear about McNair. And I think it's important that even though that you guys are in high school, some of you still even freshmen, so you just joined Upward Bound, and grad school would be a long ways away. But it's important that we build this pipeline of education for you guys, that you're going to finish high school, you're going to go on to college, and maybe join SSS if the school has it, and then continue on with McNair. So there's some great questions in the chat. It says, can students enroll in the Student Support Services and McNair Scholars Program simultaneously?
Yeah. And so I'll say this, each university has its own programs, right? We are all, like I said, like Mr. Christensen and Judy, and we are all part of a trio family, which is governed by the federal government through the Department of Education trio, right? So each university will have its own program. So they'll have their own unique little guidelines. But typically, what happens is you all, like when you get into your freshman year of college, you'll probably, if there's a student services support program, you should definitely apply, get into it. And if they have a McNair program, you'll be in student service SSS, your ideally throughout your tenure as an undergraduate. But when you get to your junior year, most of the time in your late sophomore, early junior year is when you would become eligible for McNair. So ideally, you would, if that's the case, you may already be a SSS student. You can definitely, when you reach that status of late sophomore, early junior, become a McNair scholar and be McNair and SSS at the same time. So yes, if those two programs are at that university, it's definitely, and I've seen that actually when I worked at Marquette. That's how our program was. We had SSS and McNair, and I had scholars receiving their SSS benefits and getting their counseling there, and then having the same McNair with their with coordinators, directors, and then support as well. So definitely yes.
And then there was also a question, can you apply for McNair after you've taken a break? So let's say, for instance, you graduate with your bachelor's and then you want to go back for your master's. But I think, correct me, you have to still be working on your bachelor's to enroll in McNair, because the idea is to prepare you for grad school. So this would be a thing while you're in your bachelor's.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not like we call that something like a gap year. So you have to, in order for, and this is pretty much any McNair program around the nation. There's around about 150 around the nation, right? So ideally, you would have to still be in your undergraduate status. That's why we want you to come in late sophomore, early junior year. So we'll have that time in between before you graduate, right? Because what happens when you graduate? When you graduate, ideally, you should already be preparing to go into your graduate program. And we want that time to work with you to help you do that.
Awesome. I didn't see any other chats or questions in the chat. So if you guys have any more for Ms. Collins, let us know and put it in there. Otherwise, we do have Ramiro and Jerry, who are the admissions folks over at UW-Whitewater that have a presentation for us as well. So thank you so much, Karen, for coming and talking about McNair. It's something that we overlook a lot because there's a gap in between, you know, of our students. So, but also it's nice to have them see that big picture later on. So we
Yes,
appreciate your time.
we certainly do. Trio works.
It does. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. I know it's kind of late, so we appreciate everybody taking some time out of their day. My name is Ramiro. I am the bilingual admissions counselor at UW-Whitewater. And then my colleague here, he's in the chat. I don't know if he's going to introduce himself or I can just introduce him. I'll give a minute.
I could speak. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. Yep. My name is Jerry Watkins. I am the multicultural council representative for the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Throughout the time, as Ramiro giving his presentation, I will be in the chat for any available questions and posting information about the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater in the chat. And as Jeff, Judy, and Karen all can attest to, I am a recipient of the TRIO program and also a McNair scholar at the same time. So when I say that it works, I also have my master's degree and things of that nature. It works.
Definitely. I can say that I am also through student support services, but unfortunately not through McNair, though I am still working on my master's currently. So it really does work. Now, as you might have seen, the very first thing on the chat was a link posted by Jerry. Students, if you haven't done so already, we encourage you to please fill that out. That's just for us to know who you are and who was in the meeting today. And we might follow up with you if you have like further questions down the line. So if you want to take like a minute or two to fill that out throughout the presentation, it'd be much appreciated. But today we're just going to give you a brief presentation about Whitewater, you know, the ins and outs, what it takes to apply to Whitewater. I know that most of you are freshmen in high school. And then I want to say that we have the whole spectrum, right? Sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. We have a little bit of everybody.
Perfect. So this is gonna go towards everybody. If you already in your mind know like, when I go to college, I know what I want to major, then it's all for you. If you do have questions, just post them on the chat and Jerry can help answer those questions. If I see some interesting ones, I might answer them through here. So, all right. Am I able to share my screen?
You should be able to. I'm pretty sure I made you a co-host, so let me know if you can't.
All right, let's see real quick. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yep, I can see it.
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. So we're just gonna get started with this presentation here. There we go. So a little bit about UW-Whitewater. First thing is I'm going to show you a video from our director of admissions. So let me know if you can hear the volume.
Hello, my name is Jackie Briggs. I use she and her pronouns, and I have the honor to serve as the Director of Admissions here at the University.
Yep, we can hear it.
I'm also a very proud alum. And now we are proud to share that for undergraduate students looking to join the Warhawk family, you can apply at no cost to you. From now through October, we are covering the application fee. At UW-Whitewater, our values are guiding us through this time of uncertainty. Collaboration, integrity, service, and social responsibility have been our foundation when working together to find new ways to serve students. Our admissions team is committed to providing access and meeting students where they are within their college search process. Our campus is just as committed to academic excellence and student success as it always has been. And with more than 20 years of expertise in online learning, We had a leg up when it came to quickly developing a variety of remote and hybrid classroom options to meet our students' needs. I am also proud that we are an institution of access, from our acceptance rate to our 2-year campus, to our tremendous value, which combines the lowest total tuition, room and board in the state system. We have so much to offer.
Lost sound.
Yeah, it sounds like it cut out for me too.
With the community around us. Our new Community Engagement
go.
Center offers many of those opportunities. And our vibrant network of alumni working everywhere from Harley-Davidson to the state capitol, we help Warhawks become leaders. Visit our website at uww.edu/admissions to learn more or to take a virtual tour. At UW-Whitewater, you belong here.
All right, so that was a pretty good video, right? Pretty informative for everybody. It just gives you an overview of what we are about at UW-Whitewater. As you can see, you saw a couple pictures of our campus. Really beautiful campus, I would say, especially in the springtime. But just to give you some kind of more information about Whitewater, let's just say that you've never came to campus and this is the very first time that you're ever hearing about campus. Just looking at your screen, as you can see that bigger purple circle, that is where we are located. So we are only about 45 minutes from Madison, an hour from Milwaukee, and 2 hours from Chicago. So we like to say that we are a mid-sized institution, even though, as you can see, our student population is about 12,000. That is roughly the same population as the entire town of Whitewater. So as you can imagine, we're a really big school, right? So we're just right in the middle, as I said, a mid-sized institution, kind of comparing us to Madison or some other smaller school. And then as you can see, we're just breaking down the population that we have on campus. Students for Center with Disabilities, we have about 1,100 of our students go through that. Just so you know, a lot of students have some sort of disability, whether it be a cognitive, physical disability, one that is disclosed, not disclosed. We are here to help all of our students with some sort of disability. Now, the top number, the 4,000 or so students that are first generation, what that means for you as a student is that you might be the first one in your family to go to college and receive some sort of higher degree. In this case, it's going to start with your bachelor's. So that usually takes about 4 years, maybe 5, depending on what you want to major. And then from there, as Karen was mentioning, you go on to your master's if you want to keep going that high. And then once you finish your master's, this is like thinking way down the line, you'd be eventually getting your doctoral degree. So you'd get the nice name doctor in front of your name. So that's always a plus. Now, a couple other things about our school. Since we do have a lot of freshmen here, kind of going all the way to seniors, I want to emphasize that here at Whitewater, we prepare you well enough that you are going to go out and get a job right away. As you can see the top number, we do a lot for our students in order to actually go out into the workforce and utilize and actually exemplify that degree you work so hard to achieve. So, and I'll talk about what we do in the later slides when I talk about our colleges. But one thing that I do want to point out is our student orgs here on campus. So we have a whole spectrum of different orgs. So from one side, it could be academic based orgs. So maybe you have forensics club, maybe you have stock market club. If you're big into the stock market, fun fact, we give you the students, actually the club, about $800,000 to put into the stock market. So that's a lot of money. That's just a fun fact. And then kind of on the other side of the spectrum, if you're big into sports, you're saying, I want to go to college and I want to play sports. That's what I want to do. We offer a wide variety of sports. We are a D3 school. We have anything from football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, whatever, we have it. And you can do intramural, which is like Sunday league, club, and then the actual school team. So we have all of that spectrum there for you as a student. And then if you just kind of want to hang out, have a lot of extra time, we have those fun organizations. So like cereal eating club. So if you're like diehard cereal fans, that's all for you. But we also have our cultural orgs. So however you identify as you see, for our inclusivity for our LGBTQ plus, we have the Pride Center. So whatever you identify as, there's a Pride Center there for you to get acquainted with students that might identify similar to you. We have identity based such as LU, which is Latinos Unidos, if you identify as Latinx, Latino, Black Student Union, Native American organization, etc. All these organizations are available for you, the students. And then, just kind of other facts, as you can see on the screen, safety, it's a big thing on our campus. And we got this nice badge to show it. We're big on safety on our campus. So now, let's see here. All right, so these are all of our different colleges. We have 5 different colleges here at Whitewater. And we have a bunch of different majors. And I believe Jerry is posting the link to all of our majors and minors. If he hasn't done so, he'll put it. But you can go ahead and check that out and see what we have available. But just to give you kind of a brief description, the College of Arts and Communication. So if you are musically talented, so you play an instrument, whatever it may be, percussion, etc., by all means, you can audition to join the orchestra, the symphony. Fun fact, they travel around the world. They actually travel to Europe to perform. So that's a perk for you as a student. Communication. So if you are big into like journalism, into public speaking, if you find yourself that it's easy for you to stand in front of a crowd and talk and speak, by all means, you might want to consider something in the communications round. And then kind of going into business, that is what we're known for. We are a business school. And I know it's might be early for a lot of you students, especially our freshman students, but it's never too early to start thinking of what you want to do. So when it comes to business, as I was mentioning with the how we prepare you, the students, well enough to go out and get a job, the College of Business actually holds a job fair for all of our students from all 5 different colleges. So you might have like these big companies like Chase Bank, Nike, Adidas. You might have YouTube there. All these big name companies that are looking for you, the student, to like hire on the spot or give an internship on the spot. So that's just a big perk that the business school does for all of our students. Now, the College of Education, that's more so if you yourself are looking into wanting to be a teacher in the future. So what we focus on is special education, elementary education, and then you can most definitely major in education and then have an emphasis from any other college. So you can be a arts teacher or a science teacher, biology teacher, whatever it may be. We started as a teaching college, just to give you a history lesson, about 150 years ago. So to this day, we still hold true to that. Now, I'm assuming it's safe to assume that all of us know about a 2-year school, right? So for us in Whitewater, we have a 2-year school that is called UW-Rock County. And that was that smaller purple circle in the first slide that I showed you. That's only like 20 minutes away from Whitewater. But what that is essentially, it gives you, the student, the option to go and get your general classes out of the way. So those starter classes, so maybe like speech, public relations, kind of communication, all these starter classes for you, you can get them out of the way, and then you can transfer over to a bigger school, 4-year school, I should say. So you have that option to either start at a smaller school and then transfer to a bigger one, or you can just go right ahead and start at a big school. Now, lastly, it's the letters and science. So for all of our students here that might be interested in some sort of sciences, natural or social sciences, like Karen, sociology is on here, psychology. I myself am a sociology major as well, so I got to give it up for that. And then you have your biology. We have pre-emphasis, especially in the pre-biomedical. So if you yourself want to become some sort of doctor, maybe in optometry, which is for the eyes, or a pharmacist, we have all these pre-emphasis for you to add to a major that's going to help you get a degree and eventually transfer over to medical school of your choosing. So that's a really big plus that we offer from our institution. So, and I know there might be a misconception when it comes to college. I know that a lot of students might say, oh, when I go to college, these classrooms are going to be really big. It's going to be 100+ students. I'm going to be lost, scared, etc. Well, I just like to say that that's mainly not true. Most of our classes, as you can see, they're pretty much the same size as your high school classroom, about in the 20s. So you're still going to have that firsthand experience with the professors. So the only time it's a really big lecture hall is when it's like 4 or 5 classes put into one. So now, um, cost. How much does it cost to come to Whitewater? As you might have heard in the video, we are the best value in the UW system. What that means to you is that we're really cheap. And there is a lot of things included in our tuition. Just so you can see a couple things on the screen there. If I have any athletes in the room or anybody that likes to go out and watch theater, dance performances and such, all of that is included in your tuition. You just have to show your student ID and you get let into all of the events. Laundry, oh man, I know we hate doing laundry right now, right? But eventually we're all going to have to do our own laundry. So there is a laundry room in the basement of every single dorm room. So you can do laundry today, tomorrow, right now, in an hour, 3 hours, whatever it may be. It's there for you to use, and it's completely integrated into your tuition. Now, I know that another misconception might be that, college is going to be really hard. I'm not going to be able to make it, especially understand the classes. Well, we have tutoring services for you. We offer over 100,000 hours of tutoring from a wide variety of subjects. So from science to writing. I know that I worked with a student that had to write a 14-page paper. Oh man, that's a lot. But they procrastinated, unfortunately, but they got the help that they needed in the writing center and were able to finish that paper in time before the deadline. So that just kind of goes to show how successful and how much help our tutoring center has to offer for all of our students and how dedicated they are to them. And then when it comes to technology, that's also something that you don't have to worry about. So there is a computer lab in every single building on this campus, whether it be an academic building, so where you're going to have all of your classes, or in the dorms. So let's say it's like 3 a.m. and you forgot that you needed to print out your homework assignment for your 8 a.m. class. You just go down there and print it out. We got you covered. So now, compared to other schools, they might have you go out and buy all of your textbooks, especially if you are in these harder classes like business, finance, and such. I know those books can cost like $300+. But with us, you just rent them out. So you literally just go to our bookstore, you check it out like as if you were in the library, you use it the entire semester, and then at the end, you go back and return it. So I always like to say that saves you a lot of cash. But that's only 95% of your books. That last 5%, it's kind of some miscellaneous books that you're going to have to buy. Like if you take poetry class, you might have to buy a poetry book or just, some other random books. But the cool thing about it is that the bookstore gives you the option to sell it back to them. So we also give you that option. If you don't want to keep it, you can sell it back to them and get some cash back. So we're always looking out for our students when it comes to some sort of monetary need. I think everybody's looking at that big number, right? 2.3 million. Oh man, that's a lot. That is an entire accumulation of all the scholarships that we give. So I always like to ask this fun question, and I won't be able to see your answer. But if you are left-handed in this chat, you are going to get a scholarship. There's a scholarship for being left-handed, literally. And I'm imagining that some of you are smirking right now because you're like, oh man, I don't believe him. But it's true. You just have to Google it and it's there. There's literally scholarships out there for anything and everything. Um, and when we look at scholarships, we just go based off your GPA. So just something to keep in mind eventually, especially for our seniors here that might be interested in applying to Whitewater. Now, um, another misconception or another thought that might go through your mind is, what is the application process? How do I apply to college? Especially if you are first generation student, you don't have somebody to, lean back on and say, well, how did you do it? How can I do it? Well, I'm here to try to make it easier for you. Especially here at Whitewater, we only have like 4 steps that you need to do. First thing is apply, basically. Look at the application. And as you can see, that is our website. It's apply.wisconsin.edu. And that application actually works for all of the UW schools. So any school that has UW in front of it, you can fill that application out and it works for all of them. One app for like 5, 6 schools, whatever you need. And then there's a $25 application fee. So I don't know if any seniors right now that are almost about to graduate are interested in applying to Whitewater. If you are interested, just know that we got you covered if you apply before the 31st, which is in about like 2-3 days. But eventually, later on, for all of our freshmen, sophomore, juniors, there is that application fee for $25 that you just have to submit. There is an application fee waiver, meaning you just have to meet some sort of requirements, especially like free or reduced lunch or hardships, so you don't have to pay those $25. And then we just need your transcripts, what you have going on at school, your grades, basically a report card, if you would, of what you have going on in a high school. Especially for our seniors, we need that last one that has a graduation date on them. And I know that this probably doesn't pertain to our freshmen or sophomores, but ACT, this is more so for our juniors and seniors here. Your ACT is optional when you apply to Whitewater. So we know that a lot of students didn't have the opportunity to take the test, the ACT or the SAT. So we are making it easier for you. Just know that you have the option to submit it or to not submit it. So now I won't go over all of these dates, but just keep in mind there are important dates for you as students that you need to keep in mind once you are going through the application process. Keeping these dates in mind just helps you. It benefits you, the student, to keep track of everything. So it's really simple, just a couple dates here when you're applying, and then once you are admitted. So, but that was kind of the short and sweet version of the presentation. Does anybody have any questions for me about the presentation itself? Let's just see here if there's any unanswered questions in the chat. All right. All right. So all the questions got answered. Does anybody have any questions for me that I might be able to help answer?
Does anybody have any questions? I know you guys asked lots of questions the last couple weeks. I forgot to tell you to prepare, but okay, so we have someone asking about the dorms.
Yep. So we do have dorms and meal plans. So when it comes to dorms, we have a wide variety of dorms. We have what's called the Wells Towers. We have the newest dorm that we just built. It's, I think we just finished it in the beginning of this year during the summer. And it's actually called Mainga. It's a Native American name. Since we like to honor the land that we are in, on our campus. We named it after Native American tribe. So there are a lot of dorms on campus. A couple dorms are reserved for only juniors and senior status. Those are more apartment-based styles. But the ones that are for our freshmen and sophomore students, those are really nice dorms as well. Those are fairly renovated as well. So you just get together with a buddy if you have a friend that's going to come to Whitewater or to the school of your choosing. You can just room with them. So, and then when it comes to meal plans, there are meal plans. So you have the lowest, which is about 12 meals a week, and then you have the highest, which is about 32 meals a week. So, I always like to say 32 meals. It's a lot, but our student athletes actually get those meals. So, and then with those meals comes dining dollars, or purple points in this case, which is actually, if you give $100, you're going to get $100 in your student ID to use in the cafe or the cafeteria or the snack bar in campus. So we do have that. Any other questions from students? I know there might be some curious questions. So, and I forgot to mention, I am an alum of UW-Whitewater, so I kind of know the ins and outs as well. So. All right.
All right, I need at least one more question. Come on, peer coaches. One of the peer coaches on the call, I need one more question.
Come
At
on,
least.
Catch me off guard with a really interesting question. I'm gonna see if I can answer it.
All right, well, it sounds like we don't have, what's your favorite thing about Whitewater? Well, that's a good question.
Favorite thing about Whitewater? Well, biggest campus attraction. All right, I'll answer both. Most favorite thing about UW Whitewater is how much attention they put towards you, especially the professors. It sounds kind of corny to say, kind of cliche. You might have heard it before, but I vouch for it all the time. Depending how you interact with your professors is how they're going to interact with you. So if you are having a great relationship with your professor, you get to know them, they are going to, move mountains for you to make sure that you pass the class, or, get the correct education that you need, or resources essentially. Uh, the favorite thing that I can say is that each professor knows a lot of people. So that's how you build a big network of connections that will help you out eventually um, in whatever you want to do, whatever endeavor. The biggest attraction about campus, I would say the bowling alley. There is a bowling alley and a movie theater in our campus. So I don't know if Stevens Point has a bowling alley. Do you?
Not on campus.
Oh, see, we got one on campus, so. So that's probably the biggest attraction that we have. How diverse is campus, and not to forget about sports. When it comes to diversity, I want to say we're getting better at our diversity. So um, it is considered a PWI, which is, fairly white institution, but we are moving towards diversity. So we are getting more and more students of different backgrounds to come to our campus. So we are progressing, as you might say. And not to forget about sports. Oh yeah, our sports, man. Really great on sports. We're a big football school. One fun fact that I will tell you is that we won, the trifecta here: basketball, football, and baseball at the same time, the same year. So that was like a 1 in a million chance to win the championship for all three. So that's a fun fact there for you. All right. Those were some pretty interesting questions, huh? I got to give it up to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for coming tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the presentation from Whitewater, and thank you for your time. It's really greatly appreciated. Hopefully we can get on campus sometime soon.
Definitely. We appreciate you guys having us out here, giving you some information about Whitewater. As Jerry just posted, we have our phone number, students, and our email for our office. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to email us or call us. We love questions. We get them all the time. So don't worry about that. Just give us a call. And then just a reminder, if you didn't fill out that registration, please do so. It'd be appreciated as well. So
Hey, Ramiro, also, if they didn't, I've been sending over a roster of all the students that participated, so you'll get their address and email and grade level and all their information too. So other schools found that helpful for sending them stuff if they needed to.
yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate that as well. I can have that as well as like a backup just in case.
Right.
All right, perfect.
All
I
right, you guys, you
appreciate it.
see that last link there? Make sure you click it before we end the meeting.
And don't forget school visits. Next week, Thursday is Stevens Point. The Thursday after that is Wisconsin Rapids. And after that, up northern schools. So Tomahawk, Lakeland. So just please make sure you log in. This one's a really important one. We're going to talk about scheduling. So please, and homework and getting all organized because that's a big issue right now. So I'm going to personally help you guys during that time. So this is the one to come to.
Judy, were there any other announcements?
Tutoring on Monday night. Feel free to join anytime between 7 and 9. You don't have to log in right at 7. You can come in at 8 o'clock if you want. If you need help with, like Jessica says, scheduling or keeping organized, or you just want to have a structured place to go and do your homework, that's fine. You don't necessarily need help with anything. That's every Mondays. We just mailed out information on the fall workshop travel, crossing our fingers. We still get to be in person. So yeah, be watching your regular mail for that information.
Yeah, we're excited to see you guys next month in person, or for those of you that aren't comfortable, we still have that online option for the workshop. So
Yep.
And also, just to go off what Judy said with the tutoring, we've had a couple students that just like didn't really need necessarily tutoring, but they didn't know where to start with like getting all their homework because they've felt overwhelmed and just needed a place to start. And so it's for literally anything. And we have all of our TAs are going to school to be teachers. So they're there to help you guys, and they're actually in college themselves. So yeah, Israel, go ahead. If we can stay on if anyone has any other questions about Upward Bound stuff. I know we don't get to see you guys in person regularly, so this might be one of the few opportunities you're on with us right now. And Israel, you can unmute yourself and ask, or if you want to type it in the chat, you can do that too.
Israel, do you have a question?
Maybe it's a really long one and he's just typing it out. Oh,
Yeah.
also,
there we go.
the bus schedule too. We mailed that out yesterday, so you're gonna get a bus schedule or or if you're driving yourself or your parents are driving you, there's a schedule of where to be picked up and dropped off. And then also there's a small thing about if you're doing it online and how that's gonna work. So
Yeah. So Israel actually brought up a really good issue that we probably should have put a little asterisk on our thing, but we can post it. If for some reason your health, I hope everybody stays well and healthy, but if for some reason you need to quarantine, just message us and then we'll take you off the in-person and move you to virtual, and then we'll make sure that you have all the links and everything to do that. So,
Or if you feel sick at all,
yes, don't come.
take a chance. Just don't
Yes.
come. Okay.
Yes. If you're in doubt seriously about anything, just do the virtual option, because we don't want to end up Upward Bound being a super spreader event. So, all right. On that note, I know some of you have day off from school tomorrow, so enjoy that. Sleep in and get some rest and do something fun. So, all right. Have a good night then.
good night, everybody.